A love that was stronger than death. There was love in Auschwitz, too. That was how Jerzy Bielecki often began telling his story about the love that blossomed between him and Cyla Cybulska in one of the most horrific places that anyone can imagine. Jerzy and Cyla met while they were both working in a grain storage unit at the deadliest concentration camp of World War II. They very quickly fell in love with each other, and Jerzy started planning their escape from the camp. Even though they didn't manage to stay together for the rest of their lives like they had wanted to, they were able to reunite almost 40 years later. Bielecki was sent to Auschwitz on June 14, 1940, as one of its first 728 prisoners. He didn't expect to stay alive for more than a few months, but he somehow endured the horror of living there for over 4 years. In the winter of 1943, he met Cyla Cybulska. She was a young Jewish woman who arrived at the camp earlier that year with her immediate family. She was the only one who survived. Her parents and siblings were all killed by the Nazis. That was the beginning of their love story. They kept seeing each other as often as they could. After about 3 months, Bielecki was head over heels in love, and so was Cybulska. One day, she came to him with tears in her eyes and told him that her best friend had been shot and killed by an SS officer. Jerzy hugged Cyla and promised to get her out of that hell on earth. He was determined to do everything in his power to keep the promise. His friend Tadeusz worked in the storage unit where uniforms and ammunition were kept, so Jerzy decided to ask him a very risky favor: to steal an SS uniform and a special document so that Bielecki could pretend that he was an SS man. Because Tadeusz couldn't steal everything at once, it took Jerzy about 2 or 3 months to collect everything that he needed. Cyla was given the job of mending flour bags in a grain warehouse. That was where Jerzy, who also worked there, saw her for the first time. Decades later, he was still able to describe that moment in detail. 10 beautiful young women came into the building. I was stunned. One of them, a black-haired, dark-skinned girl, looked at me and winked playfully. We both blushed, he said. When the uniform was finally ready, Bielecki found Cyla and told her about his plan. The next day, he came into the grain warehouse dressed as an SS officer and took Cybulska for a questioning. Luckily, Jerzy's acting skills were good enough. Just a few scary moments later, he and Cyla were free. After 9 nights of walking, they arrived at his family's house in a small village. Jerzy didn't want to leave Cyla there, but he knew that it was the safest thing to do. They promised each other to meet again after the war and be together forever. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do so. Cyla heard that Jerzy had died in battle, and he was told that she had died in a hospital in Stockholm. Soon after that, Cybulska moved to New York. Both she and Jerzy got married to different people, but they never forgot about each other. In May 1983, Jerzy received a completely unexpected phone call. "Jerzy, it's me, your Cyla." When he heard her voice, he couldn't believe it. She told him that her cleaning lady saw him on Polish TV the other day. When Cyla told her their story, she immediately recognized him. About a month after that emotional call, Cyla flew to Krakow. She was greeted at the airport by Jerzy, who gave her a beautiful bouquet of 39 roses, 1 flower for each year of their separation.